All right, class. So today we're going to go through guided practice problems week 3. Before we do that, we're going to go quickly review the notes that we did last week on systems of linear word problems. This was a quick review. Linear equations are equations that graph straight lines, and these are examples of the different types of linear equations here. A system of linear equations is where you have more than one equation where the meaning of x is the same in both equations and the meaning of y is the same in both equations. Linear equations can be written in different forms. We talked about 2 forms, one being the slope-intercept form, written in y equals mx plus b, where the number that's attached to x is the slope or rate, and the y-intercept or starting amount is the number that has no variable attached to it. Okay? The other form that you will write linear equations in is standard form. And we'll use this form as well today, okay? Your A, B, and C are numbers. Your X term goes first, then your Y term, then the equal sign, and then the number that has no variable attached to it will go last. Okay? Just because it's in the right order doesn't mean it's in standard form, okay? The first number cannot be a negative, a fraction, or a decimal. If it is, then it's not written in standard form. Keep in mind that just because it's a negative, or just because it's a decimal, or just because it's a fraction, and it's not written in standard form does not mean it's not linear. It can still be linear. It's just not written in standard form. These are the steps that we're going to use. I'll reiterate this again. You're not going to use every single step for every single word problem. Okay, these are just guidelines. When we get stuck at a word problem, we need to be thinking like this. We need to go back and we need to do these steps. Okay, read the problem, identify the question. Okay, what are your unknowns? Whatever it's asking you for. If it's saying 2 things are missing, the first thing that it's missing, declare it as X. The second unknown, say that that's going to be Y. Find important information. What are the slopes if they give you slopes or rate of change? What are your starting amounts? What is the meaning of X and Y in this problem? And do they give you any total amounts? Then you decide how am I going to write my equation? Did they give me information to write my equation in slope-intercept form? Or did they give me totals and I have to write it in standard form? If they give me totals, that's a hint that I'm going to have to write these equations in standard form. Then I need to decide after I write my equations, what method am I going to use to solve? And you can use whatever method you feel comfortable using. You can graph them to see where they cross. You can use the substitution method to see where they cross, or the elimination method to see where they cross. Check your answer. Make sure that your answer makes sense. Okay, so those are the notes that we took last week, and now we're going to do the guided practice problems. Okay, are there any questions before we begin the guided practice problems? I need to leave this open so I can refer back to it. All right, as you have questions, please make sure that you ask. Big or small, ask them all, okay? We already did this problem together. We did do this problem together, but what we didn't do is we didn't solve it. So we're going to solve it at this time. Please make sure that you have your graphic calculator handy because we're going to use the graphic calculator to graph. Remember, I put a link to where you can download a graphic calculator on my home page. Please make sure. Why are you looking like that? I'm just laughing at her. I'm laughing at her, y'all. I ain't gonna tell you who I'm laughing at. But anyway, please make sure that you have your graphic calculator. If you don't have your graphic calculator, there's a link on the home page. Let me pause the video real quickly. This is the link right here you can use to download it. Okay. This is a graphic calculator that you can use. All right. Is everybody good? Addison, are you okay? You good? What do you have? Chromebook? What kind of laptop?
Mine's not compatible.
Oh, that's why it's not compatible. Yeah, no. Even though those are very good laptops, you have to think the school system. I'm gonna pause right. It's cheap. Okay, they're not gonna use. They're gonna get Chromebooks. Okay, that's the cheapest kind of laptop you can find. It's not gonna be compatible with Apple. It's not gonna be compatible. You know what I'm saying? Like none of that. Chrome is a cheap lap. It's not gonna. So I'm sorry. It's not. You're not gonna be able to do that. But I can. If you need a calculator for tomorrow, I can get you a calculator tomorrow if you need one. Okay, just text me and let me know so I can check it out of the media center. All right, you just won't be able to take that one home unless you check it out, but they'll charge you for checking it out. So you should just let me check it out and leave it here. And then you see what I'm saying? All right. Okay. All right. If you need a calculator, guys, you need to let me know and we can try to work something out because you have to have a calculator for this course. I don't want you to spend a whole lot of money. I have a calculator also on my phone, and I think the one I have on my phone cost me maybe about $4 or $5, which is a lot cheaper than going out and buying one for 100 and something. They are super expensive. If you get one, don't buy one. Don't buy a TI-83. Buy a TI-84 because you'll be able to use that throughout your high school career. Okay? Don't get the TI-83 that we just used at 8th grade level. Get the TI-84 so you can get more use out of it. Okay? If you decide to buy one. If you can't afford one, which, listen, I understand, that's 100 and something dollars for a calculator. Then just get the app or try to find a free link. Okay? That's what I did. Okay? Literally, that's what I did. All right, so let me go back to recording. Okay? All right, so let's do it like this. Here we already worked out this problem. There were 2 cell phone companies. Just a recap of what we did. This first phone company was this Vendafone, and the second company was this Cellnet. Okay, and in this first company, my starting amount they gave me first. My starting amount was $20. That's how much I paid per month. It looks like it's a rate, but it's a starting amount because that's how much I pay for that month. Okay, so this is my starting amount. So you got to read the problem because you could easily think that's a slope. You could easily think that. But it's not because you're writing your equation based on the month. So you're only going to pay it one time. Okay, so 20 is going to be my starting amount for that month. My slope here is going to be the 25 cents, so that's 0.25. Okay, so the equation written in slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b, is going to be y is equal to the 25 cent times the number of calls plus the $20 that you automatically have to pay. The Cellnet is the starting amount is the $40 every month. So you're going to pay one $40 fee for that month. That's your starting amount. In addition to paying 5 cents for every call that's made, okay? Per minute, sorry. So your equation in slope intercept form is going to be y is equal to the 5 cent x plus 40. Okay, any questions about how I got these 2 equations? Sophie, do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so my system, I'm going to write up here, is 25 cent x plus the $20 and 5 cent x plus the $40. So now I'm going to solve this system by graphing it and seeing where they cross, okay? So that's going to tell me how many minutes, okay, the minutes, and the total cost when they were the same. Okay? What time did they have the same amount of minutes and the same cost? Okay? So this is how you you do this, okay? I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to clear my screen. Let me cut this on. Second plus 7, 1, 2. I'm going to say it again. Second, then the plus sign, the number 7, because number 7 is reset, and 1, 2. Number 1 and number 2 resets it. Second plus 7, 1, 2 clears the calculator. Okay? Now, in order to graph these, very simple, I'm going to go to where it says y equal in my calculator. Okay? So now I'm going to type in the two equations that I get. This first equation is 0.25x plus 20. So I type in the decimal point 25. The x is right beside the green alpha button. You see that? This is where x is, beside the green alpha button. And then plus 20. Okay, so this is how I type that first equation in. All right? I'm going to type the second equation in. Okay? This is 5 cents, so that's 0.05x. This time it's going to be plus 40. So those are my two equations. Any questions about how to type in the equations? Don't forget that the x is right beside the green alpha button. Okay? All right. So now we want to graph this. But listen, if I graph it the way it is, it's not going to show up on my coordinate plane, because my coordinate plane only originally it goes from -10 to +10, -10 to +10. So this is what you do if you want it to fit this problem. What you do is you go to Zoom, and then you go all the way down to where it says Zoom Fit. So the calculator is automatically going to create a window that's going to fit these equations. So go to Zoom Fit and press Enter. All right, let me go back to my window. X0. Go back again. Oops. Let me get it. All right, so both of the equations are on there, but look at this, guys. Look, it's not going over enough so that it is, it's not going over. Yours probably did. This one did not. So I need to go a little bit further out on the x-axis so I can get where they actually cross. So in order to do that, I can go to Window, and I can go from my x value, I can go all the way up to, let's try 50 and see what that does in graph. Okay, so I need to go over some more and probably up some more. Okay, so let's go over and up some more. So over some more, the x, let's go over to 100 now. And then this y, let's go up a little bit on the y. So let's go over to 100. And the y, let's go up. Let's go up 100. Why not? Say again, babe. You said which one for my y? You see it now? I know I don't need to go up 100, but I just did it just to show. You got it? All right, so I need to go over just a little bit more for the x. So let me just go over 110 because it's hanging off the screen. Okay, so now I find a point. This is the point where it crosses right here. So Miss Reyes, how do you know what that point is? Very simple. The calculator will tell you what that point is. This is what you do. You press the second yellow button and trace. and it gives you options. You want to figure out where they intersect. So you're going to go down here and choose intersect. Where do they intersect? Press enter. Okay. And now what you're going to do is you're going to press enter 3 times and it's going to give you the point where it intersects. That's 1, 2, 3. So you see here, they said intersection. Your X is 100 and your Y is 45. So that's the answer there. Your X is 100 and your Y is 45. So in 100 minutes for both companies, when you reach 100 minutes in both companies, no matter which company it is, you're going to pay $45. Okay? And I'll pause to give you a chance to write that in and ask questions. All right, so now let's do number 2. It says you ride an express bus from the center of town to your street. You have 2 payment options. Okay, so again, you got 2. This is a system because the X and the Y's is going to have the same meaning because you got 2 options. Option A, and I'm going to do this again. I'm going to set it up the same way I set it up before. I got my option A, and of course I have my option B. So it says option A is to buy a monthly pass. So you have to buy the monthly pass. So that's going to be my starting amount because I have to buy that. Okay. And I'm going to pay $2 per ride. Okay. So I already know that's going to be my rate of change. So my M here is going to be $2. Okay. Because it's $2 per ride. My starting amount is going to be whatever that monthly pass cost is. Any questions about that so far? Okay. This is option B. It says option B is to pay $4.50 per ride. So my M, instead of the $2 per ride, is going to be $4.50 per ride. Okay. Then it tells you that a monthly pass costs $50. So that means the starting amount for A is going to be $50 because you have to pay for the monthly pass. Okay. Any questions about that? So this one has no starting amount because all you're doing is just paying the $4.50. You don't have a monthly pass, so there's not a starting amount for that one. So it says, after how many rides will the total cost of the 2 options be the same? So in other words, where do these lines cross each other? When is it going to be the same amount of money? Just like we did in the other one. Jamari, you okay, baby? Okay. All right. So let's write the equation for A and write the equation for B. Can somebody tell me what the equation for A is going to be? Yes. Very good. Y equals 2x plus 50. Can somebody tell me what the equation for option B is going to be? Anybody?
Thus, y equals 4.5x.
Very good. Y is equal to 4.5 x or 450x. Great job. There's no water intercept here. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is the same thing we did before. We're going to type these 2 equations in the calculator to find where they cross. So our system of linear equations is going to be this. You're going to type this equation in, and you're going to type this equation in to figure out where they cross each other. Okay? So let's do that. So I'm going to clear my calculator again. When you clear your calculator, that's second plus, very good, 712. Excellent. Thank you, babe. So now to type the equations in, we go to y equals here, and we're going to type both of these in. The first one is 2. X is right beside the alpha button plus $50. That's option A. Go down to the second equation. Option B is y is equal to, which is already there, 4.50, $4.50. X is right beside the green alpha button. So now you have both equations typed in. Okay? Anybody need me to wait? Yes, babe. What's up? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, there's a plug that's right over there, babe. All right. So now we want to graph it. So when we graph these, we need to go to Zoom first, and let's get as closest to it as we possibly can. So let's go to Zoom Fit. Okay. So when we go to Zoom Fit, it's going to try to give you the best graph that it can give you. Okay, you see, notice how I need more space on the X because it hasn't crossed yet. So I'm going to go back to my window, and the highest X value they gave me was 10. I'm going to go over to 20 and see what that does, okay? I'm going to go over to 20, graph, and see what that does. Okay, now look, I got enough space this way, but I don't have enough space going up. So I'm gonna go up some more on the Y because it looks like it's crossing somewhere up here. So go back to window, and my Y is going up to 70. Maybe I need to go up 100, okay? Just to see, I don't know. All right, it looks like it's right there on the edge. Do you see that? So let's see if the calculator can pick up what that point is. Unless I want to go to window and go out just a little bit more, which instead of 20, let me go out to 25. And instead of 100, let's go up to 110. Just to give it more space here and more space up. Okay, that looks better. Okay. So now, in order to figure out where it crosses, I press the second button, trace, second and trace, and then I go down to Intercept, press enter, and then enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now my answer is down here at the bottom. My X value is 20, and my Y value is 90. So what this means is that, remember that my it's the number of rods, okay? The number of rods, the total amount of money. So at 20 rods for both companies, $90 is the total amount that they're going to pay. Any questions about that one? Say again, babe. Oh, I can. 0. It's just it's a placeholder. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because it doesn't, for option B, it's just saying that you have to pay the $4.50 per ride. It doesn't say anything about a monthly cost. Does that make sense? For the first one, you have to pay a monthly pass cost. But for this option B, all it says for option B is to pay $4.50 per ride, period. That's it. Okay? Anybody else? That's a good question. Okay, so let's do, anyone still taking this picture? Okay, so we're gonna move on. Oh my God. Okay. All right, let's see if we can do this one together. And then I want to see if you can do this one on your own, okay? Number 4, I want you to try this one on your own. But pay attention to 3 because 3 is just like number 4, which is going to be different from the first 2 we did. All right, so let's read it. First thing we do is read and identify what the question is, okay? That's steps 1 and 2. It says, Kristen pays $131 on shirts. Fancy shirts cost $28 and plain shirts cost $15. If she bought a total of 7, then how many, this is the question, how many of each kind did she buy? So this is, you notice it didn't give you a rate of change, right? And it did not give you a starting amount. So you cannot write this in slope intercept form. So the other form we talked about is the AX plus BY equals C, which is the standard form. Okay, so that's what we're going to write this equation as. And I know that already because it did not give me a slope and it did not give me a starting and now. Any questions about that so far? Okay. So now when we're doing this problem, we have to identify what's my X and what's going to be my X, what's going to be my Y. What are my two unknowns? Well, look right here. How many of each kind? Each kind of what? The fancy shirts and the plain shirts. So X is going to equal the number of fancy shirts. Why am I putting that first? Because it's the first thing they talked about. So X represents the number of fancy shirts. The other thing that they don't know, how many, you see, this is the question. They don't know how many plain shirts. So Y is going to represent the number of plain shirts. Any questions about how I know what to declare my variables as? These are my two unknowns. Where did I get my unknowns from? The question. Okay. All right. The other thing that you need are the totals. Your total is always going to be where you write, is where your C is. Okay. Is where your C is. So let's pick out two equations. So we need to pick out two totals. Kristen spent this amount of money. That's a total right there. She spent it on shirts. She spent it on shirts. So this is money. And I got to recognize that this is talking about a total of $131 on the shirts. This is the total cost for the shirts. The other total is how many shirts she actually bought. She actually bought 7 shirts. Any questions about the totals and how I got those C's? So now you got to figure out how I'm going to get this AB, okay? So the easier one, well, I won't even go with the easy one. Let's start with the first one. How do I know how to write this equation? Well, this total is talking about money. So I'm going to be dealing with money. Okay? How do I figure out, logically speaking, how do I figure out how much money she spent total? How do I get this total amount? Well, what I have to do is I have to take the cost of her fancy shirts, the $28, and multiply it by how many shirts she bought. Plus, I have to take the cost of the plain shirts and multiply it by how many plain shirts she bought. So that is represented by this $28 times X, because that's the number of fancy shirts, and each fancy shirt costs $28 plus the cost of the plain shirts, which is $15. So I got $15 times the number of plain shirts she bought. Any questions about how I got the first equation? The second equation is the total amount of shirts. So that's just going to be X plus Y. Because X is the number of fancy shirts. So you got the number of fancy shirts plus the number of plain shirts is all going to equal to a total of 7 shirts. Any questions about how I came up with that equation or those equations? All right, so now what I'm going to do, which one did what option? I think I used the substitution method on, yeah, I used the substitution method on this one. So I'm going to use the substitution method to solve this one. Okay, so with the substitution method, I'm going to get one of the variables by itself. Okay, so this is the system, so you'll know that. And now I'm trying to figure out where they cross. Okay, how many, this will tell me the number of fancy shirts, and this will tell me the number of plain shirts, okay? And to figure out what X and Y is, I'm going to use the substitution method. So I'm going to solve for Y. So we got X plus Y is equal to 7. So I'm going to get y by itself by subtracting x. So this is going to be y is equal to 7 minus x. That's what I'm going to do first. Substitution method. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this and substitute it in the other equation. So write the other equation. 28x plus 15y is equal to 131. Okay. I'm going to replace y with this expression. So this is going to be 28x plus 15 times 7 minus x and bring everything else down. This is the substitution method. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm tripping. 7 minus x. Lord help me. Sorry. All right. So now I'm going to say this is 28x plus, I'm going to use distributive property here. What's 15 times 7? Anybody know? 15, I didn't hear you. What'd you say? 15 times 7? 105. Okay. And then we got 15 times a negative x, which is negative 15x. Okay. Combine the x's together. When you combine the x's together, that gives you 13x plus 105 is equal to, now to get x by itself, subtract 105 from both sides. This is going to give me 13x here. This is going to give me 26, right? Oops, I said 28. It's 26. 26, Miss Reyes. Divide both sides by 13. What is 13 divided by 26? Say again? 2. So x is going to be 2. And remember, x is the fancy shirts. So there are 2 fancy shirts. So now all we got to do is figure out how many plain shirts. Which equation is the easiest equation to use to figure out the number of plain shirts? Very good. It's the second equation. X plus y is equal to 7. So plug in 2 for x. And how many plain shirts is this going to be? How many plain shirts is this going to be? When I subtract 2 on both sides, this gives me 5. So there are 5 plain shirts. Okay? 2 fancy, 5 plain. This is my solution. Please make sure that you take a picture of this, write this in, and I want you to do number 4 on your own. Questions about what I'm asking you to do? Natalie, are you okay? Okay, you are okay. Good deal. Any questions before I stop the video? You got a question? Wait till you get to your next class. We get ready to dismiss. It's about to be a bunch of people in the hall. Well, not a bunch, but everybody's going to be in the hall. All right, I'm going to stop the video.